my eye. Through the mist, my surprise shone light from distant northern skies. At that point, I realized I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all an illusion, then I'm willing to play.
Welcome to the Quantum Guide Show, interviews with awakened masters as they share their quantum work with you. The Quantum Guide Show is produced by Karen Holton, creator of the 9 Steps to Quantum Health Transformation, a free 9-step online course to give you the tips and resources you need to thrive. Karen lost and continues to keep off 178 pounds of surplus body weight as she made her dreams come true. Whether you are awakening to the ascension process or simply want a wiser, more efficient lifestyle, this program is for you. No strings attached. The Quantum Guide Show is brought to you in part by Zendome's Orgonite, Karen's unique brand of orgone generators, ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. Find out how orgone generators work and what they can do for you. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out Karen's current selection, only available from her website, KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com, and on Facebook, facebook.com/Quantum Health Transformation. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Quantum Guide Show. Today, our special guest is Susan Blocker from Virginia, who is going to tell us about her astral travel experiences and her galactic spiritual experiences and missions. Susan was born and raised in New York City, but 14 years ago, she relocated to Virginia. Susan is now 58 years old, and she was born without arms. However, she is independent by use of her feet. And in Susan's own words, quote, "In my world, my legs are my arms, my feet are my hands, and my toes are my fingers," end quote. Throughout her life, she always had a natural interest in writing and researching information. Susan works at home in alternative media as a researcher and a writer of news commentaries. Her primary goals revolve around researching and studying the history and creation of humanity, Earth, and the galactic realms. Between the age of 3 to 5 years old, Susan's connection, adventures, and missions began with her galactic spiritual guides, which has continued throughout her lifetime. Susan's goal and mission in life, in this lifetime, is to share her galactic and spiritual experiences with as many people as possible to help them expand human consciousness and awareness to life that exists beyond the Earth. Welcome to the Quantum Guide Show, Susan. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Karen. Thank you for having me on your show. I truly appreciate this opportunity to share my story.
Well, Susan, it's a thrill for me to finally get to meet you and get to learn more about your experiences. I, as you know, have had some similar experiences, so I fully validate what you're going to be sharing with us today. And I know that our viewers are very excited to find out this very interesting, but also very timely and important information.
Yes, yes.
I want to start off by asking you, Susan, what led up to your first out-of-body experience?
Wow. Okay. My first out-of-body experience. Actually, Karen, I was about 15 years old when I had my first out-of-body experience. I was at my foster grandparents' house, and me and my sister was sleeping on the floor. We used to love to lay down on the floor with all the blankets and everything, like we were camping out or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to sleep, and it must have been, I'd say maybe about 2 or 3 in the morning All of a sudden, I awoke up out of my sleep and I felt this pulling sensation coming from within inside of my body. I didn't know what it was. It scared the heck out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't move my physical body. I tried to call for help. I was aware of my surroundings in the room, but I couldn't move. I was like I was paralyzed, but I kept feeling this pulling sensation. And with all my might, I basically tried to fight it because I didn't understand what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And it felt like whatever was inside of me, like my spirit was trying to leave my body.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to go because I didn't understand what was going on or if I was going to be returned or anything like that. So I fought it. I fought it. Okay, so finally, I guess maybe after a couple of minutes, my spirit rested down and my spirit finally went back into my body. The next day, I was so shooken up by what happened, I didn't know how to explain it to anybody. So I kept it to myself, but it bothered me really, really bad because I didn't understand what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this kept going on from the age of 15 until I was like 22 years old. I kept having these experiences, and it usually would occur like in the weird hours of the night between 1 and 3 a.m. in the morning when
Mm-hmm.
everybody's asleep. And all of a sudden, I feel this pulling sensation, trying to, like something trying to pull my spirit out of my body. I kept fighting it. I fought it off for like 7 years, 7 years, because I refused to give in to whatever this was because I didn't understand what it was.
Mm-hmm.
One day when I was about 22 years old, I got up in the middle of the night around 2 or 3 in the morning, went to the bathroom, got some water, and I got back in the bed. No sooner I laid down, I felt this pulling sensation again. By this time, Karen, I had had enough. I said, okay, well, if whatever's going to happen is going to happen, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let
Mm-hmm.
go.
Mm-hmm.
And I let go. Oh my gosh. I felt my spirit leaving my body, Karen, and I saw my physical body laying in the bed. Um, and I was wondering what was going on. I was like, okay, I'm up here, but I'm also down there. I still didn't realize that I had left my body.
Mm-hmm.
After I started noticing that my body was laying, comfortably in the bed, my spirit started floating up outside the building. I actually went through the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I know, I was outside, and it was like, you know, it was early in the morning. Actually, I'm sorry, it wasn't 2 or 3 in the morning. This happened around maybe about 6 o'clock in the morning because I remember it was sunny outside and my neighbors were starting to come out, going to the store to get the newspaper or whatever they were doing. And I saw one of my neighbors outside, and um, I tried to like stand in front of her to like say, "Hey, do you see me? Do you see me? I'm over here."
Yeah.
But she went right through me. She couldn't see me. She went right through me. It
Mm-hmm.
still didn't dawn on me that I really had left my physical body. But I was floating around up in the air on the ground, and I was aware of all of my surroundings. I looked at my neighborhood, saw everything was intact the way it should have been. Then
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, I started rising up to the sky, further up, up, up. I was taken into this like what do you call it? It's like a bright light,
Mm-hmm.
Karen. I was surrounded in it. I mean, this I can't describe the color of this light. It was like a yellow bright light. That's all I can say. And I was inside this light, and this light was pulling me inside, basically. It was
Mm-hmm.
pulling me somewhere. I had no control. I just had to follow wherever it was taking me. Finally, I reached the other side of the light. And when I got there, oh boy, it was the most beautiful scene I'd ever seen in my life. I saw this beautiful, pure white, pearly gate. I mean, the gate was so big, it looked like it surrounded the entire world. It was like I had 360-degree view of everything. And this
Mm-hmm.
gate was surrounding me, literally surrounding me. And I decided I wanted to go towards the gate. And when I got towards the gate, I saw beautiful, gigantic flowers of all different colors. I mean, the colors were nothing that we see here on earth, nothing. The
Mm-hmm.
colors were magnificent. And I wanted to go inside of the gate where the flowers were. Then all of a sudden, I hear this loud voice, gigantic voice coming out of nowhere saying, "You can't go in there." So I kept trying to turn around to see where the voice was coming from. It sounded like everybody in the whole world could hear the voice, because this voice, it was loving, but at the same time, it was very loud, very,
Mm-hmm.
like magnified. That's what it sounded like to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it said, "You can't go in there." And of course, me being me, stubborn, I was still trying to head towards that gate. And it said, "You cannot go in that gate. You can't go in there." So I was trying to turn around to see who it was who was talking to me, because it felt like they were talking to me from behind, like they were standing behind me, but I couldn't turn around. I wasn't able even to turn around to see who this person was talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of nowhere, I decided to look around and see what was going on. I realized I had no physical body. Um, how do I describe myself? I was energy. That's all. That's all I was. Nothing but energy. I had no mouth, no eyes, no physical body, nothing, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to communicate with this being who was telling me I couldn't go through that gate. I communicated telepathically through my mind. So it was like my conscious was able to talk to this being, and I was able to hear what it was saying, but I had no physical body. So, me being me, I still attempted to try to go inside this gate, because the flowers was like drawing me inside of it, inside the gate, because I wanted to see the flowers. They were gorgeous. I'd never seen anything like that in my life, but I was
Mm-hmm.
not allowed to go in there. The next thing I know, the voice said, "You can't go back because it's not your time. You can't go back. You have a lot of things that you need to do. You have to return." I didn't want to come back, first of all, because wherever I was at, Karen, I felt nothing but peace. It was like everything that happened to me on earth disappeared. It was
Mm-hmm.
like all of my worries, problems, it was like I didn't even remember them. I was at peace. I mean, the peace that I had goes beyond the imagination. I can't even begin to describe it. And I wanted to stay wherever I was at, because I was safe, I was comfortable, and I didn't want to return. But obviously, I had to return. Next thing I know, I was back where my apartment complex was, and I was, floating up in the air, and I was hovering over my apartment building. And the next thing I knew, boom, I was back in my body, my physical body. Now, when I came back out of it, when my physical body sat up in the bed, I didn't know where I was at, Karen. I didn't know my name.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was unfamiliar. I was like it was like somebody dropped me from Mars onto space, onto Earth, and I had no recollection of anything. I was terrified. I
Mm-hmm.
remember getting up out of my bed, literally walking around this house and not being able to identify with anything in the house. I didn't even know who I was. And
Mm-hmm.
I was terrified. I didn't know. So I remember I went and I sat back on my bed, and I just kept saying, "Please help me remember, who am I? What am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Where am I?" Then finally, I think I'll say within 5 minutes, my memories started coming back, of where I was, um, that I was in my home. I was safe. This is my apartment. My name is Susan, and everything started coming back to me slowly but surely. And I remember that first experience, I was very angry after that, because wherever I was, I wanted to stay there.
Yeah,
And
I guess.
all of a sudden, I was back here,
Mm-hmm.
back in this body. And, you know, I didn't want to be back here. I wanted to stay wherever I was at.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people will say that it was heaven. I don't know. I can't say, Karen. To this day, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my first experience outside of my body.
Wow, that's huge. And a lot of people have had these experiences, but they don't talk about it because, first of all, it's a bit unbelievable unless you've experienced it.
Yes, yes.
But I agree. And I know from my own personal adventures, yeah, once we're out there, we don't want to come back because
No.
it's so beautiful. There are
Yes.
color spectrums that we don't see with human eyes. And I don't know, how do you feel, Susan? I found there was nothing but love out there. Did you
Nothing
find
but love.
yeah, your experience too?
I was surrounded by nothing but love, security,
Yeah,
peace. I mean, it's nothing like you experience here on earth. Nothing at all.
yeah. And then we got to come back because we got work to do here,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was told. I had
Yeah,
things to do and it was not my time and I had to go back.
yeah,
And here I am.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm kind of glad you're back. I'm kind of glad to get to know you. I'm
Yes.
wondering if you can now go a little bit into your galactic family and your life on and off the ship.
Okay. Now, my galactic experiences began when I was about three, between the ages of 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I was living at a place called the actually the Institute of Rehabilitation and Medicine. I was a patient there, and they were teaching me how to use my feet and how to, function independently in a quote normal world. So I was
Mm-hmm.
a patient there. But also at the same time, they were still trying to find foster parents for me because my biological parents had put me in foster care when I was 14 months old. So the goal was for me to be placed with a foster family that would take care of me, until I became an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So around 3 or 4 years old, they found my second fourth. No, I'm sorry, my first foster parents, and they lived in Long Island, and they obviously wanted me to be a part of their family, so they took me home with them. Eventually, once all the paperwork and stuff was done, they took me home with them. I had my own bedroom, which I wasn't used to because at the Rusk Institute, again, I was surrounded by children, and there was like maybe 6 or 7 people in one bedroom. We had, big giant rooms, and it was a
Yeah.
hospital, so there was more than one child in the bedroom. So in this home that I went to, my first foster home, I was the only one who had the bedroom. I had my own private bedroom. I guess I would have been happy if I wasn't afraid of the dark, but at nighttime I was terrified of the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my foster mom used to close the door enough where the light from the hallway wouldn't come into my bedroom, but I would still be able to go to sleep because it would be dark enough in the room. But I was terrified, so I wouldn't go to sleep. And
Mm-hmm.
I was, sitting in a room by myself. And then all of a sudden, these beings would come and they would keep me company until I fell asleep. Now, who these beings were at the time, I had no idea, but they
Mm-hmm.
would come every night and spend time with me. And now remember, I have no arms. So once you put me in the bed, I'm supposed to stay in the bed until somebody comes and physically takes me out of the bed. But because I wasn't able to climb and stuff like that. So somebody used to have to lift me up, put me on the bed, lift me up, take me off the bed until I got old enough to learn how to do that. But these beings would have me on the floor playing with them. So obviously they would take me out of the bed at night, and I'd be laughing and playing, and they were friendly beings, whoever they were. Um, like I said, I didn't know at the time who they were, but they were my galactic guides, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And they were there to comfort me because they
Mm-hmm.
knew that I was afraid of the dark and that I needed to be comforted. So they were there with me, and they stayed with me. for the whole time that I lived in that with that particular family. And at nighttime, every night they'd come play with me for a couple of the hours till I fell asleep. They'd put me back in the bed and I'd literally go back to sleep. Again, I never told anybody about this because I was afraid. I didn't
Mhm.
understand it. I didn't know how to explain it. So I kept it to myself, like, most children might do or whatever, because I was afraid people wouldn't believe me anyway. And I
Mhm.
didn't want to get in trouble with my foster family because I didn't want them to think that I was crazy and then they'd send me off somewhere and I'd blow my chances of living with them. So I
Mhm.
kept it to myself, but they were my galactic beings, my galactic guides, actually. And I remember they taught me how to do a lot of different things with my feet. I was also being taught by physical therapists, occupational therapists, but I also had my galactic guides teaching me how to do things with my feet. Because my
Mhm.
therapist would often say, well, how did you learn how to do that? We haven't taught you how to do that. How do you know how to do these things? Again, I couldn't tell people what was really going on because they wouldn't understand. But they
Mhm.
taught me a lot of different things of how to use my feet. And I remember one particular thing they taught me, and that was to tie a bow with my feet, with my toes. Now, that was the most difficult thing for me to learn how to do as a child. Actually tie a knot and tie a bow. And I had this little doll, well, actually, it was a big doll, and she had a big red bow. And every night they would come, my little galactic guides, and they would teach me how to tie this bow. And I couldn't get it at all. In the beginning, I didn't know how to do it. I couldn't comprehend how to do it. But then one day I actually tied the bow. And the next morning, I remember my foster mother coming in the room and she was like, okay. She knew I had tied the bow because the night before the bow was untied because I was always untying stuff and, fiddling with my toys or whatever. So the bow was untied the night before, but then the next morning the bow was tied. And she said, well, Susan, who did this? How did this get tied up? And I
Mhm.
told her I did it. Again, she didn't really believe me. She said, how did you learn how to do that? And again, I didn't explain it to her. I said, I know how to do it. And then she told me, well, show me. She untied the bow and she asked me to show me how to do it, with my feet. And again, I remembered from the night before how the Galactic showed me how to do it. And I tied the bow and there it was, just like that.
Mhm.
Um, After that, the next big experience I had is when my foster parents were coming to pick me up for the weekend from the Institute of Rehabilitation. They would take me home. This is my second set of foster parents now. I was about 5 years old at the time. I had left the Butlers. They had found another home for me. And my foster parents were coming to take me home for the weekend. We were driving on the highway. Actually, we were getting on the highway, just getting on the highway. Then all of a sudden, the sun, it was already out, but it seemed like it got brighter, extremely bright and very warm.
Mhm.
And it like enveloped my entire body. I remember sitting there talking to my foster dad, like a little kid, asking a bunch of questions. And then all of a sudden this sunlight hits the left side of my face and I couldn't move. I was paralyzed. I couldn't move again.
Mhm.
I was a little girl. I don't remember being afraid. I don't think I was afraid. Um, I remember hearing my foster dad continue talking to me, trying to get my attention or whatever, but I couldn't speak. I was unable to speak. The next thing I know, this portal opened up that literally went from the sun to the car that we were in. And I was sucked into the actual portal of the sun.
Mhm.
Um, Once I got inside there, I knew I was home. Don't ask me how, but I knew I was home. I felt
Mhm.
safe again.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know how long I stayed there, Karen. I was there for a little bit and I was there to basically be reminded of what I came here to do.
Mhm.
And the next thing I know, I was back inside of the car with my dad. and I was sitting there talking to him. Now, again, all these experiences that are happening, I'm not able to really explain it to the adults around me because at the time I didn't know how to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
From that day on, I did know that Earth was not my home, that I didn't belong here,
Mm-hmm.
and that I came here specifically to complete certain tasks. Now, at that time, at the age of 5, I wasn't really given the task that I was here to do. All I know is that I was here to basically help humanity do something. But what, I didn't know. It wasn't told to me at that particular time. But I was just being reminded that I'm here to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after that, basically, again, this goes back to when I was like starting at age 15, 16, when I first started having my out of body experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I started fighting it and not being able to leave my body. Then again, when I was 22, I finally left my body.
Mm-hmm.
After that is when all the contact with my galactic guides kicked in big time. That's when it
Mm-hmm.
started.
Mm-hmm.
When I finally let go and went over to wherever I went to, that beautiful place, that's when I started having the out of body experiences on a regular basis. And it took me a very long time to get used to having those experiences because whenever I would lay down, get relaxed or whatever, I could feel that pulling sensation from coming from within my body. And
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, I was afraid, but I knew I had to let go. And the more I started letting go, the more easier it became. Basically, it just started feeling like I was being peeled away from my body, basically.
Yes.
And the experiences that I had with regard to my galactic experiences, oh boy, it's so many of them, Karen.
Can you tell
Um,
us about your life on the ship? Can you tell us anything about
yes,
the ship? And
okay, yes, on
that would
the
be a
ship.
good place to.
Okay, on the ship. Okay. Again, from what I remember, my galactic families did not want me to come here. Um, I first remember volunteering to come here when we were on a ship, and my galactic family showed me a screen. It was a big giant screen that it was built inside of the ship control system.
Mm-hmm.
And that screen actually showed pictures or video of Earth, what was going on here in Earth at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this goes back, like I said, I've been here many, many times before. So as far as time wise, date wise, I can't specifically say. It might have been thousands of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw the turmoil going on here on Earth, and I couldn't understand what was going on here. I was like, well, why are these people suffering the way they are? Because where I come from, which is inside of the sun, that is where my home planet is, inside of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Where I come from, we live as a community. We have our own families, but we also are one big community. We
Mm-hmm.
Nobody goes without anything. We don't live by the same rules that they have here. We don't have money. We don't even know what money is. I didn't know what money was until I got here. And
Mm-hmm.
even today, I still don't understand money, but that's what the way it is here. But where I come from, everybody has everything they need. We work as a team on everything, doing, helping each other out. If one person can't like fix their ship, or if they need help repairing their ship, other families come in and automatically help that person. We don't
Mm-hmm.
look for anything in return. We just automatically do what we need to do for each other. That's how it goes where I come from.
Mm-hmm.
My family specifically, we are known as star travelers, and that's because we travel from different star systems, planets, dimensions, and stuff, and we go and we act as mediators. where there are problems on different planets and stuff that they can't resolve, and they need people to help them, other people, civilizations, or people from other planets to come in and help mediate, so that this
Mhm.
way things don't escalate to a point where they want to fight each other, where war breaks out.
Right.
That's what me and my family do, my galactic family do. Most of my time was spent on a ship, because we traveled all the time basically. I had my own room on my ship. I remember it wasn't a big room; it was a little room, because when we would travel, we traveled with a small family-sized ship. It was enough just room for just myself, mother, father, and my sisters and brothers, if you want to call them that. That's what they call them down here, sisters and brothers. So I'll use them like that. And we traveled as a family on the ship.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes we would get to a specific place, a planet. I don't remember all the planets we've gone to, because we've gone to so many, so I can't specifically name planets that we've gone to. Where we would travel to a different planet, and it's funny because we'd actually have to camp out overnight, because we couldn't actually go and conduct our business because it was too early in the morning or too late at night. So we had to wait until a reasonable time to actually go and conduct business. And I remember one time I fell asleep on the ship, and my parents had landed the ship. They had landed it, and they decided that instead of sitting in the ship all night and waiting till the next day to take care of business, that we would they would camp out, put
Mhm.
things out like the food and stuff, have like a little camp out. So I'm sleeping in my room, then all of a sudden I wake up and nobody's there. So of course I panicked because I thought they had abandoned me. I thought
Mhm.
somebody had kidnapped. I didn't know what was going on. It scared the heck out of me. um,
Mhm.
but I looked out the ship window, and that's where I saw them. They had set up the little camping area, and I went out, and I spoke to them. They said, "Oh yeah, you were sleeping. We didn't want to bother you, so we're okay. Don't worry about it." um, but when it came to me coming, volunteering to come to Earth, they did not want me to come here, because they knew a lot more than I did.
Mhm.
And that is, Earth is a prison planet.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
many people who come here from other planets wind up getting trapped here. You
Mhm.
don't realize you get, when you basically, when you die, you're reincarnated and you come back again and again and again. It's like a soul trap here.
Mhm.
And that's because the negative alien beings have it set up like that.
Mhm.
Um, and my parents tried to explain it to me, but I didn't feel. I was young. I guess in their age, I was young and dumb, and I didn't
Mhm.
want to listen to them. I wanted to come here because I wanted to be of help, because I wanted to let people know that there's more to life than what you're stuck here living. You don't have to
Yeah.
live. You're like in a you're like enslaved here, and
Yes.
there's a whole galaxy of planets beyond Earth that don't live like this. You
Mhm.
don't live like this, and that's the reason I wanted to come here. But there was also another reason I wanted to come here, is because I wanted to learn about love. Now, love here on Earth is different, is expressed differently on the planet where I come, which is inside of the sun.
Mhm.
We don't show love the way they do here on Earth. Here, they show it by giving flowers, gifts, cards, and hugging, and kissing, and all that kind of stuff like that.
Mhm.
Off planet, in where I come from, we don't show it like that.
Mhm.
Um, it's not expressed that way. It's not even told. We don't say "I love you," but it's something that you automatically know.
Mhm.
You don't have to be told that you're loved. You know by how your family treats you, how your community treats you, that you're accepted and that you are loved. So it's never spoken of on my planet. And I
Mhm.
wanted to know what it feels like to be told I love you, and to, you know, get flowers, you know, because I asked, when I saw this, you know, people expressing themselves, excuse me, people expressing love here on earth, I didn't understand what that was. And I
Mhm.
asked, I said, well, what are they doing? Why are they giving flowers? Why are they hugging? What is that?
Mhm.
You know, and they said, that's love. That's what my father said. He said, that's love. And he
Mhm.
said, well, how come we don't do that? He said, we don't do that here. You know you're loved. We
Mhm.
don't have to tell you. You
Mhm.
know you're loved. But on earth, they have to be shown. They have to be, they're different, you know.
Mhm.
So I wanted to come down here because also I wanted to have a physical body, because
Mhm.
I don't have a physical body on my planet.
Mhm.
I'm nothing but pure energy, conscious energy. That's what I am.
Mhm.
And I wanted to experience what it feels like to be loved in a physical body.
Mhm.
And that's the reason I decided to come here. That's another reason I decided to come here. I
Mhm.
wanted to be born with a disability because I wanted to learn about how people treat people, how people love people with physical disabilities as well. Because I
Mhm.
knew, again, on my planet, there are no disabilities.
Mhm.
Have that there. Nobody's sick.
Mhm.
You know, so I wanted to learn all aspects of love, all different types. So that's why I, you know, my foster parent, I was raised in foster care, and, you know, I experienced, you know, child abuse and all that kind of stuff like that, because I chose those things. I wanted to
Mhm.
know the different aspects of how people treat people here, you know, because we are totally different off planet, totally
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Everything is different off planet.
Yeah, I have a similar experience. I volunteered to come back here, and I had a lot of trauma in my life, and a lot of suffering. And but clearly now I know I chose it. But I have to tell you, Susan, I didn't think it would be this hard.
Neither did
I mean,
I.
when
No.
we're before we're born on earth, we don't realize when we choose to come down and help out, we're more idealistic, and then we get down
Yes.
here and experience the reality, and it's kind of like, whoa, because it
Karen, you
is so different in our galactic families.
Karen, you don't know how much I miss my galactic family. You don't
Yeah,
know how much I miss them. And
yeah.
sometimes I can't say I regret being here.
Hmm.
If I had known that it was going to be like this,
Yeah,
I would I wish I had listened. See, my galactic family knew all of this. They knew
yeah,
this.
yeah,
But I, to them, I was just a what is it, a stubborn galactic teenager,
yeah,
and I wanted to do my way because I figured I'm going to come back, you know, come down here, come and just do what I got to do and come back home.
yeah,
But Karen, I've been here many lifetimes.
yeah, yeah.
Many lifetimes I've been here. I mean, I can trace my lifetimes back before, like, what is it? The earliest I can trace back is like the 1600s,
Hmm.
you know, and I might have been here before then. And I
Hmm.
remember several of my lifetimes as well.
Hmm.
You know, so I've been here many, many times.
Hmm.
But I didn't realize it was going to be like this. I thought I was just going to come down here, zoom, zoom, zoom,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
back home. Hey, I'm back home again.
Yeah, yeah, I went down there and fixed the problem, and I'm
Yeah,
back home now. It doesn't quite
yeah,
work like
that's what
that,
I,
though,
yeah,
does it?
just like when like my galactic parents, when we go traveling to different planets and stuff, and we do what we got to do, and boom, we're back home.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what I thought this was going to be,
yeah.
but it
Well,
it isn't.
yeah, not so much. Okay, reminds me. I was wondering, Susan, if you can tell us about what some of your guided galactic missions have been while here on Earth.
Okay, while here on Earth, okay. Now I've had galactic missions here on Earth as well as off planet. Here on Earth, mainly most of my galactic missions basically is to observe.
Mm-hmm.
My galactic guides take me to different places um, here within the United States as well as in other countries. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to see what's going on in other countries, and I'm able to see what's going on right here. But I can't intervene in anything. I'm just here to observe.
Yeah.
Like one instance was, I remember, oh boy, I remember they took me to a hospital. I believe it was like in North Carolina or Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't understand why we were there. We went to this hospital's emergency room and we got in there, and the emergency room was packed that night, that particular night. People
Mm-hmm.
coming in, and the nurses and doctors were flying all over the place. But
Mm-hmm.
they had me focus in on one particular uh, area of that emergency room where a father and a daughter was in this waiting room, in the emergency room. They had their own little private room, and they're waiting for the doctor to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the father was abusing the daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and he had to bring the daughter in the hospital.
Oh dear.
And he secretly told the daughter not to tell them what he had done to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at my guides and I was like, well, wait a minute. He's telling his daughter not to tell them the truth. I
Mm-hmm.
said, that's wrong. And my guide said, yes, it is wrong. And I said, well, can I, intervene? Can I tell the nurse or something that this girl is suffering? She's going through problems, and the father is abusing her, and he's telling her to lie about it. And he said, no, you can't do anything. You have to just observe. You're only here to observe.
Mm-hmm.
So they've taken me on on other missions where I've had to basically observe.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these missions I didn't like. Like for one instance where I remember at one point I was able to kind of start predicting when planes were going to crash.
Mm-hmm.
I went through that period for about maybe 2 years, and that is the most horrible thing for me at that
Mm-hmm.
time, because I knew when a plane was going to crash. I knew what airline it was going to be, but I couldn't tell anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It was like an ability they had given me, but who was I supposed to tell? I wasn't supposed to tell anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember one time, it was in New York, this airplane, I forgot what airline it was. I can't think of it right now, but it was going to crash. And I remember being allowed to come out of my body and actually go to where that airport was, and I was trying to stop the plane. At least I was trying to. I don't know how I was going to stop it, because it went right through me. When I'm out of my
Mm-hmm.
body, anything could go right through me. This plane was taking off, and I knew it was going to crash. And I actually went on the plane, and I saw the people sitting down and getting settled for the plane to take off and everything, and I couldn't stop it. They wouldn't allow me to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing I could do.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was sent back to my body, I think like a few hours later, that's when I heard that plane had crashed.
Yeah.
And by this time I was frustrated, because I was like, why are you showing me these things and not allowing me to tell people what's going on?
Yeah.
And basically all you're doing is having me observe everything. And you know it's I don't feel that it's right. I was getting frustrated at the time. I didn't like being able to see things and not being able to stop them,
Mm-hmm.
like even down to the World Trade Center.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I tried to warn, I knew it was going to happen before it happened.
Yeah.
Again, I saw it, but I was not allowed to tell anybody. But I tried to warn one of my friends, because she was getting on an airplane to Florida on that same day that the World Trade Center hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to tell her, I didn't go into detail or anything like that, but I tried to kind of like stop her because I didn't want anything to happen to her. Thank goodness, she was okay. But the fact is that I knew that this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't understand why they were showing me all of these things and taking me all of these different places and stuff like that, but not allowing me to intervene.
Yeah.
But
I've had some similar experiences, Susan, and what my guides eventually revealed to me was that I was like, I was a witness, but more than that, it's like the data that I collect through my experiences gets transmitted to someplace else, to other beings who have a very careful record of what's going on in this world. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about that with your experience.
well, I think with me, I think they were basically training me or teaching me so that eventually I could intervene.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
And instead of me, they wanted me to watch and I guess get used to being out of my body and going different places and stuff and just learning. It's more or less like a learning experience for me.
Right, right.
Because with my galactic guides, they work with me in stages. Once I complete one task, they graduate me, or they they move me up to a different point, a different level
Yep.
of
Leveling up.
education. Yes. And first thing I have to do is basically observe. I'm just able to go around and observe because I've even observed different things off planet.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Was there any difference in your missions off world?
Well, they've taken me to a lot of planets that are similar to Earth, but a little bit different. I've seen a lot of like rescue missions happening off planet. Again, where I'm only there to observe. The people who are there doing the rescuing or whatever, they're doing their job, and I'm just there watching. That's all I can do, watch.
Right.
And I've seen where actually, again, this is because they were training me to do things similar to it. My first rescue mission actually happened. I mean, I know this sounds silly, might sound silly, but this was my first rescue mission. I had to actually go to a planet where I had to rescue a puppy. Now, they know me. They know that I love animals. I'm an animal lover, and I will give my life for an animal. That's just me. So they actually sent me off planet to actually go and rescue this puppy. Okay. Now, when I got to the planet where the planet they wanted me to rescue this puppy, it was pitch dark. It was dark in there, and I had to climb over this gigantic fence. I managed to get over the fence. I saw the little puppy, and I grabbed the little puppy. Now, once I grabbed the puppy, I realized, well, how am I going to get back over the fence? Because this fence was humongous. I mean, I don't know. It must have stood like 200 feet tall. That's how tall the fence was.
Wow.
So I don't even know how I got over it. I mean, maybe they threw me in there. I don't know. But I was on the other side of the fence, and I'm saying, like, how am I going to get out of, on the other side? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, these giant beings, they look like humans, came. And they saw me on the other side of the fence, and I was terrified because this is the first time that I've actually been on a planet with giants ever. So it scared the heck out of me. I just knew they were going to eat me and this puppy up. That was it. I was terrified. But lo and behold, they saw us, and one giant just literally scooped me up in his hand. That's just how big this giant was.
Mm-hmm.
Scooped me up in his hand, me and the little puppy, and said, "Well, where do you want to go?" And I said, "Well, I'm supposed to be taking this puppy to a safety area. He was trapped in that fence, and I had to go get him. And I'm supposed to be taking him to a safety area where he'll be safe with other animals and puppies and stuff like that." And they took us there. They took
Mm-hmm.
us there. They put me down. I put the puppy inside, brought the puppy inside the house where he was safe and everything. And the next thing I know, I was back at home again. So I
Mm-hmm.
completed that mission.
Mm-hmm.
Another off-planet mission is where they had me basically I was actually, this was the first time that I could remember they actually had me pilot a ship.
Wow.
No, actually, I was a co-pilot on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else was piloting the ship. It was a small ship. Um, I don't know where we were going, but we got captured. There was another ship. We was bypassing this gigantic ship. Our ship was tiny, and there was another ship that was next to us that was gigantic. And I kept telling the pilot of the ship, "We're going to get captured. We're going to get captured because the magnetic field from this ship is actually sucking our little ship into it. We have to pull away from it."
Mm-hmm.
But basically, we weren't able to pull away from the ship. The ship sucked us in actually inside of the ship, and we were captured by these beings. And I was scared. I'm not going to lie. I was scared
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't know what they were going to do. I didn't know who they were. And all I remember is saying, basically, well, I'm not from here.
Yeah.
I'm from Earth. And I sung like a canary. Trust me. I gave him my rank, what is it? My name, rank, and
Rank and
everything.
serial number. Yeah.
On
Yeah.
serial number. I'm from Earth, and I'm only here voluntary. I'm doing a mission or whatever. And they said, "Well, okay, well, you have to prove that you are from Earth in order for us to let you go, because we're not going to mess with anybody who's volunteering from Earth, but you have to prove who you are."
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
actually had both of us go into separate rooms, and they had us doing some type of testing. I had to sit at a table and do these like puzzle tests or whatever the heck it was. And I don't know how I did it, but I actually passed. They said, "Okay, well, you are a galactic human and you are from Earth. We've proven your credentials. We're going to let you go."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "But what about my partner that's with me?" He said, "Don't worry about them. They'll be okay. But you can go because
Mm-hmm.
you know that you are on a mission and that you're being trained." So
Mm-hmm.
they actually let me go. So that was scary because I never had that experience in my life where that even when I was with my galactic family, we've never been captured before.
Yeah.
So for that to happen, and it really shook me up. But
Mm-hmm.
I had to go through it, and I went through it okay. Um, Another one of my experiences is when which was very interesting. Now this happened here on Earth. I
Mm-hmm.
believe it was on Earth. Um, it was a little boy, and he was not able to walk. And he had his wheelchair by him. He was sitting by his pool. His parents obviously were rich because he had his own pool and everything like that. He was sitting by the pool.
Mm-hmm.
His little legs were inside the pool. And again, I'm able to actually connect with people's spirits.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to connect to this little boy's spirit, and I felt that he wanted to be able to swim,
Mm-hmm.
and but he couldn't do it because his legs didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So all he could do is sit in the pool and put his legs in the pool or whatever. And my galactic guides, they said, "Well, go ahead, you can intervene now. You've been wanting to intervene. Now you can intervene." And
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" He said, you know what to do. You'll know. You get
Mm-hmm.
inside that little boy, your spirit, connect with that little boy's spirit and help that little boy swim. And that's exactly what I did. I was able to connect my spirit, put it inside his body, and actually that boy was in the water swimming. Um,
Wow.
my legs became his legs.
Mm-hmm.
His arms became my arms.
Mm-hmm.
So, because remember, I don't have any arms, so I was
Mm-hmm.
able to experience what it feels like to swim with arms through that little boy. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I was able to give him the experience of what it's like to swim using your legs.
Wow.
And so I was able to see everything he saw. I guided him
Mm-hmm.
wherever we went. I guided him in the pool. And I mean, it was amazing. It was beyond amazing.
That
Beyond amazing.
sounds, it sounds amazing. That is awesome. I believe that we have so many different, well, for lack of a better term, superpowers, but
Yes.
we've had them all shut down. And I think part of what you and I do, Susan, is, we wake people up as to what some of the possibilities are so they can start, experiencing it too. Because do you feel like that we're something special that we're able to do this, or do you think everybody actually has the potential if they're willing to try to conquer their fears, to have the courage to reach out with a sincere heart?
Yes, we all have these abilities, but
Mm-hmm.
our abilities have been suppressed
Mm-hmm.
because by the people who are basically enslaving us on this planet. We were born with these abilities
Yeah.
because we all are galactic humans.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things they don't want us to know about
Mm-hmm.
is because we can overpower them. That's what it is.
Oh,
So,
thank God for that.
Paul Boy,
Because I
yeah.
got to tell you, there's some people on this planet need a good whooping, I'll tell you.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So they don't want people to know what they are capable of. They don't want them to know about their galactic families, their galactic abilities, and all that kind of stuff because they
Yeah.
know that we will overpower them.
Yeah.
But with people like you and me, somehow or another, they were not able to suppress our memories. They're not able to suppress our abilities because
Mm-hmm.
they're still there.
Yep.
They're still there. I don't know why it happened like that, but the
Mm-hmm.
majority of the people don't realize that they have these abilities. They have no inkling about their galactic families or their
Yeah.
galactic heritage.
Yeah. Susan, we're actually, the time goes very fast
Yes,
when
it
we do
does.
these shows. And and we're almost running out of time. So, two things. First of all,
Yes.
I'm wondering if one day in the near future, perhaps next month, if you'd like to come on again and we
Yes.
can talk more about your experiences. And,
Yes.
and I'm wondering if you would like to close out today by telling us as much as you feel comfortable about your galactic children.
Okay. Okay. My galactic children. Wow.
Mhm.
um, I didn't realize I had galactic children till about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Um, as far as again, they don't let me know what they only tell me what they want me to know when they feel I can handle it.
Right.
They don't give me anything because again, when I'm out of my physical body and I'm in my galactic body, I can handle anything. I mean, you can
Yep.
tell me everything and I absorb it, it's no problem.
Yep.
But in a human body and with just a human brain, you can only absorb and withstand so much information.
Yep.
So they're not going to overwhelm you with a whole bunch of stuff because it's not good for your human body and your human
Mm-hmm.
brain. So they
Mm-hmm.
give me little bits and pieces at a time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
from what I understand, I have actually three boys and two girls.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they started allowing me to see my children about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was taken off planet to see my little girl.
Mhm.
And they actually allowed me to see her on her birthday, the day that she was born off planet.
Mhm.
Again, our time is different than it is here. So,
Yeah.
you know, off planet to them is different. But it was her birthday.
Mhm.
And again, they took me to this beautiful house where she lived at. I didn't see her parents or who was taking care of her or anything like that.
Mhm.
But she came out. And when she came out, you order a parent knows who her children are.
Yep. Yep.
Just no matter who they are, where they are, whatever, you know your children.
Mhm.
And I looked at this little girl and I said, that's my daughter.
Mhm.
And my guides looked at me and basically smiled, yes, it is.
Mhm.
And she was beautiful. Whoever is caring for her, because I did not see who was caring for her, but
Mhm.
she was just as happy and beautiful as I could ever imagine.
Mhm.
Very intelligent, extremely intelligent,
Mhm.
smarter than I am, so to speak, because again, she's being raised off planet, so she's
Mhm.
smarter than I am.
Mhm.
Um, and I spent time with her. I was able to talk to her and everything, make sure she's okay.
Mhm.
Then they, brought me back home. After that experience, I realized I said, okay, I'm happy I have children, but it, I was wondering, well, why would you want to create children by me, with me?
Mhm.
I think I was saying that from an earthly kind of tone because I said, well, I'm physically disabled, blah, blah, blah. Why would
Mhm.
you want to create a child with me?
Mhm.
Who would want to create a child? Not who, but off planet, who would want to do something like that?
Yeah.
Never told me who the biological father is or
Mhm.
what species that child is.
Mhm.
All I know is that it has my genetic makeup and it has the genetic makeup of the biological father who is off planet.
Mhm.
Now, recently, I'm going to speed up because I know we got a few minutes.
That's
Um,
okay.
a couple of weeks ago, they allowed me to see another one of my children.
Mhm.
And this one kind of broke my heart a little bit because they took me to like a hospital or a clinic. And
Mhm.
this little boy was sitting, he looked to be about 3 or 4 years old. He was
Mhm.
sitting on the what do you call it, the table, the examining table.
Mhm.
And he had on a t-shirt, a sleeveless t-shirt, undershirt, and he had on a pair of beige shorts, and he had on, looked like sandals.
Mhm.
And when I entered the room, I only saw the back of his head, but I could see his eyes. He had beautiful, gigantic, big eyes that
Mhm.
looked like alien eyes. It didn't look
Mhm.
like human eyes. And I immediately knew that was my child. I said, that's
Mhm.
my child. And my guide said, yes, that's your child. And I said, well, why am I here? They said, because your child needs you to comfort him.
Mhm.
Um, the child obviously was there for some type of testing or whatever. And maybe they didn't have somebody to sit with him, or maybe whoever was caring for him wasn't able to be there with
Mhm.
him.
Mhm.
But they needed me to be there.
Yeah.
They came and got me.
Mhm.
And so I went in front of the child. Now, again, I have no physical body at all.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
but children can see me when I don't have a physical body. Adults can't see me, but children can see me.
Yeah.
All children.
Yeah.
So he saw me and his face lit up. He looked so sad when he was sitting there, but when he saw me, his face just lit up.
Aw.
And I picked him up. I remember picking him up in my arms. Again, now on Earth, I have no arms, but off planet, I have arms to hold this
Yep.
baby. And I just picked this baby up, and I saw two nurses were fiddling around with their utensils like they were getting ready to do tests. So I started asking questions. I was like, okay, so what are you planning on doing to him? I wanted to know.
Mhm.
I was a concerned parent.
Mhm.
What are you planning on doing to him? They said, it's okay. He's had this test before. He's okay. We're just glad that you're here for him.
Mhm.
He said, "Oh," I said, "Okay." So I sat down in a chair and I put the child on my lap, and I was just rocking him up and down. I was telling him everything's going to be okay. You're going to be
Mhm.
fine. I was cuddling him and holding him, just loving him as much as I could,
Mhm.
because this was my child. This is my
Mhm.
child, and nothing but love was pouring out of my body for this child.
Mhm.
And I remember the nurse coming up to the child, and they said, "Okay, we're ready to do the test." So I had to hold the child's hand, and I held his hand. I said, "It's going to be okay. You're going to be all right." And they injected, some type of needle in his hand or whatever. I don't know if they were drawing blood or putting something in him. I don't know. But I got
Mhm.
the impression that this child was sickly. It wasn't well.
Mhm.
And but they wouldn't tell me what was wrong. I didn't get much information as to who's taking care of the child. Is the child being cared for with a family or what or whatever? Because I was letting them know, if you have no family to take care of this child, I'm here. I'm
Mhm.
here. I will be willing to give up my life here to take care of this baby.
Mhm.
Because again, this is my child.
Mhm.
So I cuddled him and stayed with him for as long as they would allow me to. I didn't want to leave him. I didn't want to
Mhm.
leave. It hurt my heart, my spirit, my heart, everything. It just basically messed me up, when I had
Mhm.
to leave him. But they
Mhm.
told me I had to come back. You have to go
Mhm.
back now. We only needed you to sit with him during this test, to be with him. And they brought me back. They
Mhm.
made me come back here. So that was very kind of disturbing to me. I'm not going to lie.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
bet. I bet.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
But
Wow.
yes. But basically, what I want to say to everybody who's listening, all of you are galactic humans.
Mhm.
You all have the same abilities and unique abilities of your own. They've been suppressed. You've been suppressed since day one.
Mhm.
The reason they don't want you to know about your galactic families and your abilities is because they know you can overpower them, and they don't want to lose control over you. That's what it is.
Mhm.
We're going through a process now where we are breaking free from them.
Mhm.
Are gaining our galactic abilities back. We have many galactic families and armies and everything right now here on Earth that are battling these people, these beings who've been holding us hostage on this planet for eons,
Yep.
thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Mhm.
Your abilities are going to be returned to you, and your memories will be returned to you. But the first thing you have to do is you have to be willing to accept who you really are, and
Mhm.
that is that you are galactic beings, and that you have galactic families that are actually waiting for you to remember who you are.
Mhm.
And once you start processing your own memories and everything like that, everything will automatically, it'll just come naturally to you. Your
Yep.
abilities will return to you.
Mhm.
And you just have to believe that you're more than just human. Human is just another word for, we are, what I'll just say like this, we are the human species of alien, basically, or
Mhm.
galactics.
Mhm.
That's all we are.
Mhm.
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes.
Susan, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank
I certainly validate your experience because I've had very similar. I think it's wonderful that you've had the courage to come out and talk to people today and share your experiences. And after the show, if you could just stay with me, I'm going to get my appointment book and book you in for another episode, if that's okay. But in the
Yes.
meantime, where can people find you? Where can they email you? Because I know people are going to want to reach out with their experiences. We're attracting so many people who have had similar experiences, ET contact, astral traveling. And, you know, I think we're all, once we wake up and we connect, it's like we're forming a bit of a family. So if people
Yes.
want to reach out to you, Susan, where can they do that?
Well, if anybody would like to reach out to me, they can reach me on my website. It's called Rise and Shine Humanity Awakens. And the website address is Lover's Nest. That's spelled L-U-V as in Victor, ERSNEST .wixsite, and that's spelled WIXSITE.com/awakening.
Now, we're going to have the link in the description box below so people can find you.
Okay.
Do you also have an email in case someone wants to, or will they do that through your website?
Actually, they can contact me on my website, because on the first page I have a form. They can just contact me right through there.
Oh, that's right. That's right. By the way, I've been to your website and it's great. It's really, really comprehensive. I hope the viewers will go out and check out your website, because you've got so much very valuable information that you've collected, and it's right there and it's clearly marked, and whatever, you know, aspect of our journey we want to jump into, you've made it really easy for us. And I meant to tell you, I really appreciated that. So we're going to close out now, and so I can get this video up and posted for everybody. I want to thank you again very much for joining me. And I'm going to, if you could just hang on and don't go anywhere while I end the program.
Okay. Thank you for having me, Karen.
My pleasure, Susan. We'll do it again soon.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to Karen's YouTube channel, click the like button, and share this show with your friends. Check out Karen's website at KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. All the links are available in the description box below. Until the next time, keep up the good work.
Splendor in endlessness puts all my inner strife to rest. For time gives birth to hurriedness. It all makes sense, well, more or less. And the sages put me to their test. With heart and soul, I do my best to find the answers to my quest. I wonder and I must confess, I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all an illusion, then I'm willing to play. It's okay. It's okay.